get a tree that's struck by lightning and killed, or it takes it a while to die, which one of them was really fucking cool. It was a great tree. It struggled, and it eventually did fall down. It was bird food before that, bird housing. Wonderful tree. Anyway, I think I need to start naming more of the trees here, because that's one way to protect them. And also to make trails that go around them so that people can be near the base of a big tree and appreciate its immense and cool power. Because these trees right here are taller than anything that the big city nearby has, or that the little town nearby has. And that is something I can offer to people, is a more foresty experience. And that can express itself in all kinds of ways, but I am pro barbecue. If you want to bring meat, great. Bring extra for me. But that's another reason to separate out of these areas, is dog control too. I had a family, it's a funny story. It's probably not that funny to the family, but maybe it is. It's funny to me, even though it's terrible, of course. It's totally, dogs are assholes. But anyway, I had a really nice dog who was kind of chunky, and people really liked. It's Sebastian. And we were down there with this nice family who had either been here before or had ended up coming back or something, but a really nice family. And I just think they're wonderful people. Anyway, so Sebastian walks up and goes into their cooler, uses his nose to flip up the top, grab a steak, and then zoom away, and nobody saw him. But somebody noticed that the steak was gone. And then the question, as we sat there drinking our beers and pondering the strange things in the universe, we saw that fucker come back to that cooler, tip it up with his nose, stick his nose in and take the meat. He was busted. It was fine. Nobody gave a shit as far as I could tell. If anybody was offended, but, you know, there are dogs here, so carry a better cooler. Yeah. I was in town today, and on the side of a truck, I saw two big pieces of meat. And I'm not sure, I didn't look at them well enough to figure out what the identity of the animal was. Well, it was a cow. But it could have been a pig, actually, come to think of it. I took a picture. I asked him if I could take a picture, and he said, sure. Because people here don't give a shit about anything. It's great. I love this place. Anyway, so I take a picture of this meat, and whatever it is, I will identify it. Hopefully I'll remember and put it in this video. I probably won't, but I'll post it somewhere. And then it can be identified. Also, how much does that much meat cost? And how many people does it feed? Because what I would like to do is buy meat in bulk. I do not want to buy from the butcher anymore. This is a revelation in how we should eat meat, okay? First of all, chickens, priority number one. We need to breed them. They need to be cool. We need to raise Morans. We could have separate flocks of Rhode Island Reds and Barred Plymouth Rock. That would be okay, but they would be kept separate, including the roosters, and it would just be a whole different system. I guess you could share an incubator, but it is nice to have a backup incubator in case yours stops working for some reason. And I would like to look into making a solar incubator with the solar hot water heater. I think that's harder because the problem is I think you could preheat it with it, but you want a level of precision with incubation that you need total control. And so I think that you could preheat it with a solar hot water heater, but then limit that type of heat coming in, and then have an electric pad hooked to a thermos, right? A temperature measuring device. Thermos? Anyway, a temperature sensor. And then if it gets, like over 99, it shuts it down to 99. It shuts the little electricity off. And if it goes down to 98 or something, it goes back up to 99. Whatever's correct. And then you have really good humidity monitors on it as well. And that would be this crazy idea for a solar-powered egg incubator with a solar assist. And that's to make sure that those eggs are exactly on temperature. And you're giving up on this primitive idea, and you're using a technological solution. But show me a design that you don't think would work better than the electronic assist with humidity measuring. I want that humidity to always be in exactly the right amount. If we need to adjust it for elevation or some weird shit, we can do that. We need to be able to bleach down, or I don't know about bleach, but vinegar down, something. Clean the incubators, because, hatching chicks are a little messy. We could turn a small flock into many, many chickens. And then we raise them to egg-laying level. And our hens sell way great. Because nobody else sells young, guaranteed to be young. We'll fucking post pictures on Facebook of the flocks that are coming up. And that will encourage us to increase our system. And, we'll improve our buildings. And absolutely crank out chickens for every home. Because every home is eating, and every home has something it throws away. Hopefully not a lot, because we should be efficient. But shit does get thrown away. Food waste. And that's okay to compost. You could compost it. But let's compost it through a chicken. Or a rabbit. Depends on what you're doing. Rabbits don't eat meat. That's a big difference. Chickens will eat anything you give them. They would kill you if they were bigger. Yeah, you would just be like a snack. They give no fuck about you. A few of them like people, and I want to actually specifically raise chickens that are socialized. In other words, one of the volunteer, doesn't count for your fucking hours, jobs is to visit the chick pub. I think I named it that, chick pub. It's great because it has chicks. And those have one big spot that they're kind of protected, and they can run in there if they're scared. And it's the spot that down the hall there, and somewhere in there, it has a spot that's too hot. And maybe another part of the wall on the outside is too hot as well. And so they have hot places available in a more social space with humans, and a more private space to be just with them because they're scared of you because you're too noisy or some dumb shit. But part of the goal would be to socialize them. And so we would turn on music. We would play music for the chickens as they get older. And it might even be well, I was tempted to say we could have a breach of the rule that allows us to play copyrighted music. But I really hate breaking that rule. You then can't do any videos in there, and you're in a space where there's cute chicks, by definition. Tons of little ones like that. They're just like, beep, 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 beep. You can give tomatoes and shit. They're so fun. And you gotta keep them alive and stuff. You gotta be healthy with them. But I envision this space that is human habitable and has good airflow, really good airflow. Has this solar heating system that keeps both people and chicks quite warm. And then out from that, they have other buildings where we put them when they're older. And so it's actually a row of buildings that we process them through. And then they have a glorious day. At the end of it, by the way, we do put them in individual pens for part of their life. They're big. I don't know how big, because we haven't built them. They don't exist. They're just a design. But hell, who knows? And I don't know how long of their life we do that for them, and that's not good for their socialization either. To get like put in little cages and shit. I mean, if we really were trying to maximize raising humans and chickens together, then we would have people be able to go into a chicken coop and get to know chickens. Or, for disease transfer purposes, have a space in which they bring in special food for the chickens, and it's really a people-chicken space where the chickens who wish to play with the humans can come in. They self-select to be friendly. And by the way, those are going to be our good hens later because we're trying to breed really friendly chickens. And when we do put them in their own separate spots, it's to check because we know that some of them have started laying. And we'll know that. As soon as one or two start laying, then we stick probably most of them into boxes, unless we want to fatten them up or something because they're the runt or something. And then we feed them and water them, and we pay attention every day, and we look for an egg. And the first time they get their egg, we will record what kind of egg it is, because sometimes it's too little, or it's weird. Chickens, you know, they go through a making baby stage where they're not very good at it sometimes, and their biology may be off. And so we actually want to track every chicken's productivity. And we're going to stick a band on them, a rubber band, has a number. It has a color. Their color is their generation probably, because we're going to have multiple chickens come in, but we're also going to put those through quarantine perhaps, because we want to be very careful. I'm concerned about the bird flu, and I don't know, I'm not an expert, but do I need to have netting over my chicken coop? Do I need to have roofing over it? I mean, come on. I can't let them play under the trees? I mean, are they going to die of avian bird flu? These are all questions. I don't know the answer. But if I have a healthy flock and they play around in the forest all day, and most of them don't get killed by predators, it has happened, but I need to make better walls, and that's expensive. So I got to raise money to have really happy chickens here, or I start killing the wildlife, but I ain't doing that. So I'm working against myself. I'm working for more wildlife, and I want to raise domesticated animals with shitty fences. That's really dumb. I'll get better. And also, I mean, I can really see selling hens, like, and you prove because you publish photos of the generations of the chicks and the chickens, and you say, got chickens today, and you got a big bunch of them. This is before the incubator. Okay, the incubator is hard. The brooder is easy. So of the two projects, forget the incubator, okay? And let's just go with raising a bunch of chicks, because some people are using incubators and they sell really cheap chicks. They're like really cheap. But the hard part then is you got to take care of them. And I've solved it. I've invented a solution without having built it. And that's simply having a evacuated tube solar hot water heater heating up a thermal mass, a concrete area that all these chicks are playing in, and there could be more than one of them. I don't know. We'd have to put the piping up and see like how much heat we can get off of it. And we would have to make sure the chicks are comfortable, you know, at all times. In fact, we could test it before we get chicks. So we could make sure that we could definitely keep it at, you know, 98, 99 Fahrenheit, and then slowly lower it over a certain time. And then we would actually have more than one brooder. And so it's possible we could have a switch on the hot water, and then we're able to actually heat up one brooder and then another, and then have a schedule. I mean, it'd be nice if it was automatic, but automatic things break. Just a schedule where you switch it, because you know that you've moved a lot of heat into the thermal mass and you want to continue at night. Part of it could even be a greenhouse where you harvest chicken shit. And you could totally throw like sawdust in there. Sawdust and sand are perfectly fine for chickens in my experience. They bathe in the sand underneath a roof. They like roofed areas and they like areas to climb, but you can't have any trees near them. And you want trees in there because they're cute and they're happy. And they're happy, good chickens, and you're their buddy. And then you can have a campfire in there too with a chicken lock, meaning you have two doors you go through and you don't let chickens in or out. And I have a whole grove of trees. I don't know if it would be perfect for it, but it could be. I mean, I could consider multiple areas. I haven't done that yet. I would have to consider every single area. But it's not over there. A big chicken farm. Chicken farms don't need to be big. They do if I want to change the egg culture of the area. That's true. If I want to make a business out of making it so that French Morans are very common here, and I think they're fairly cold tolerant, which is good because it's cold here, but also making like some kind of something that heats up. Something that heats up that chickens and other poultry can be in warm places at night. And you would have to look up every single species. You know, like ostrich is probably different than emu. I don't know if you know what an emu is, but I want to raise them. They're so cool. Jesus, fuck. God damn, nothing is safe. Okay, don't fall down. Oh, it's so nice out right now. I think this is something I forget that I can sell because I'm usually on my computer at this time. I forget that I can really just sell camping. And it's all a matter of infrastructure. People will have to tell me how much they're willing to pay to camp, and I will have a list of projects that I'm going to do. And they're going to pay their way into owning a campground. Maybe. Or they just get on the invite list. Because the invite list is going to be strict as fuck for anything I do. You have to have your reputation tracked by other people. You have to be a trusted individual who's known to me. And that's a tricky thing to do because your temptation is to be private. And a lot of people are very private, and I'm happy for them. But I have to protect myself, the space, and other people. And so I'm afraid I have to know what the fuck is your trip, you know. And if you're going to fuck me up or not, because I need to have systems in place, and I'm working on that will fuck back. And that's to protect the people who don't want to do that. Because they're nice, good, mellow people. I like slow travelers. I don't like travelers who come for a night or two. They're not worth my time. And I understand probably what they're doing is they're figuring, well, I'll go there for one night, and if I like it, I'll stay longer. I don't know. I think I should have spaces for people to camp overnight, I think I have space over there. We looked at the gate. I have space for people to camp overnight. I'd have to clear some shit. But I mean, I could start with just a couple of them. I mean that would be helpful.